Hello, and welcome to Reddit Rewind, where we cover Reddit's most ridiculous stories. So today we have an AITA Family Edition. Our first story is titled, AITA for kicking out my dad and his pregnant wife out of the home I legally own after they sent my depressed sister to live with the other aunt. My mother passed away 3 years ago. The family home where I and my sister grew up was willed to me. It was her ancestral property, and she wanted her daughter to have it. The other vacation home went to my 16-year-old sister. Our father remarried 6 months after Mom passed away and moved his new wife in. My sister says that woman has removed all of our family pictures from the main living area. She has removed our mom's picture as well. Now all these pictures adorn the walls of my sister's room. Recently, my father and his wife announced that they were pregnant with twins. My sister didn't take it well. She's still not over Mom's death and had a breakdown after the announcement. The night of my sister's 16th birthday party, she brought a lot of friends over and the party went on till the next morning. My dad's wife, who was out with father on vacation, returned the same morning and lost her cool when she saw the kids passed out in the living room. Our dad knew about the party. They just got home earlier than expected. His wife proceeded to lose her cool and had a big shouting match with my sister. She said that my sister was just like our mom and was a burden to our dad. She then asked her to leave and sent her packing to our aunts. I was furious when I got to know about it. I showed up home the next day and asked them to leave within a week. She's 7 months pregnant and had no idea that the house belongs to me. I know I shouldn't be kicking a pregnant woman out, but I don't want my spineless father and his wife to abuse my sister anymore. My father called me a cruel brat and now wants to challenge our mom's will. He can try. My mom's family has already appointed their family lawyer to fight my case. AITA? Now this is a juicy story and a very sticky situation. I honestly would not want to be in this girl's place. First of all, condolences on her mother's death. That's an awful situation. But the fact that his dad, A, remarried so shortly, B, got this woman pregnant, C, that this woman is now basically trying to create her own life and delete all evidence of the father's previous life in the house is really, really awful. And then the fact that she's trying to kick out the sister for something the dad already knew about ahead of time just shows that she's trying just to take over and start her own perfect little life and family. Now, all that being said, would I, if I was in the situation, throw out a 7-month pregnant woman? That's a tough call, very tough call. I don't know what I would do, but she's obviously a horrible person. So actually, before I read the other comments, I'm going to ask you, the audience, what would you guys do in this situation? Would you throw her ass out? Would you try to mediate it? Who do you side with? Your dad and his pregnant new wife or your sister? Tough call. I'm not in that situation. I don't know all the details. But from the way this sounds, blood is thicker than water. But again, I honestly don't know what I would do. So here's the first comment. NTA, it kind of sounds like your dad's new wife just wanted your sister out of the way for her new perfect little family. Yeah, and that goes on to what I said earlier. It just seems like she wanted to delete all evidence that he had a previous life and just start over with her new perfect scenario. Okay, and our next comment. NTA, thank goodness your mother was wise enough to give her houses to you and your sister. She probably knew she could not trust your father to take care of you guys, or not to be taken to the cleaners by his next wife. Interesting that he married only 6 months after your mom died. Was the current wife his former mistress? I would not be surprised if they knew each other before your mother passed. And perhaps your mother had a feeling he was already looking to move on to someone else. His new wife does not sound like a nice person. Taking down all family photos and saying your mother was a burden? Ha! Looks like your father was more of a burden if he didn't own any of the houses in the family. Also strengthens my theory that this woman either knew of your mother when she was still alive, or your dad has been feeding her stories that make her believe your mother was a burden. I could care less if this woman is pregnant. She is not your family. Your sister is your family, and she comes first and foremost. The fact that your father is trying to challenge your mother's will just proves that he's an a-hole. He should have thought twice about having more children if he couldn't afford to take care of them without living in your house. You can tell them both to F off. That poster made some very valid points. I think this is a very strong argument, and blood is thicker than water. But again, you guys, what would you do in this situation? So our next comment, the poster kind of breaks down some of the arguments from the OP and then comments on each one of those little bits. So, Jesus Christ, what an awful woman to be treating your sister this way. And shame on your father for not standing up for her. A bit from the original text. She said that my sister was just like our mom and was a burden on our dad. Part of the post. This woman sounds like a demon, regardless of whether or not she knew the house belonged to you. She should never even thought to say something so unbelievably cruel to anyone, and especially not to a teenager still struggling with the loss of her mother. And a piece of the text. My father called me a cruel brat. And the comment on that. The only cruel brat here is the one he married. If he wants to enable her abuse towards your sister, then he can deal with the consequences. It's your house, and you have every right to throw anyone out, especially such cruel and horrible people. And then quoting the original text, I know I shouldn't be kicking a pregnant woman out. Comment on that. She shouldn't be an absolute horror towards someone who has done her no wrong. Pregnancy doesn't make her magically incapable of experiencing consequences for her actions. Her pregnancy is not your responsibility. Do not feel obligated towards this woman because she's pregnant. She made her bed, and now she can lay in it. I pity the children she's carrying. She sounds like a horrible person. For the sake of her unborn babies, I can only hope she's kinder to them than she was to your sister. Wow, so this poster took some real time and actually analyzed all the text, and again makes a very strong argument to kick the new dad's wife out, pregnant or not. They are slowly convincing me that this might be the way to go. All right, on to our next comment. And they are slowly convinced me that this might be the way to go. So, yeah, maybe the right thing is to kick her out. Okay, and on to our next story, titled AITA for pressing charges against my son. My son, 28, was visiting us for a couple of days and was at my house alone babysitting my daughter's kid. According to my son, the other day my 4-year-old granddaughter, his niece, pulled down the TV and broke it. My son told us that he took the TV to the dump and it was shattered and useless. My daughter and son-in-law, my 4-year-old granddaughter's parents, felt very bad for what had happened and paid the cost of the TV that day. My husband was watching our security cameras and our son's story doesn't hold up. We never see our granddaughter breaking the TV. All that we see is our son taking away the TV that is not shattered. We asked our son about this, and he said the security camera must have cut out the part that shows our granddaughter breaking the TV. Eventually, I got a call from my son's girlfriend that lives with him. She said that she knew what was going on and felt guilty. She basically told us that our son had made up the story about the TV breaking and stole it and took it to their house to watch. I filed a police report, and his girlfriend let the police into their house to get us our TV back. We do plan on pressing charges against him. He stole our TV and made my daughter pay for it. That is messed up on so many levels. AITA for pressing charges? This is again a tough predicament. You know, the kid's 28, he's lying, you caught him, and I guess you would maybe try to teach him a lesson, but once you get the authorities involved and you press charges on your own family, I mean, it gets ugly. I guess the parents would really have to think about the consequences of this in the long term. Do they want to burn their bridges with the son to teach him this lesson? I don't know. It's, again, tough situation. But, from reading this and the way it's described, maybe pressing charges would be the right thing. So again, I asked you, the audience, what would you do in this situation? Let us know. So I looked through some posts in the comment section and found a few that I thought were relevant. Here's the first one. NTA at all. If you don't press charges, he'll think that he can get away with stuff like this. Not cool. Frankly, you're not only not the a-hole, you absolutely did the right thing and should be praised for it. I'm glad his girlfriend had the integrity to come clean. If it's his first offense, he can plead down to a misdemeanor and get some community service, and hopefully learn his lesson before he does something that gets him years behind bars. So looking at this comment, maybe it would be the right thing to press charges, and he would maybe get a slap on the wrist if it was his first offense. But the part I take away from this, which I forgot to talk about earlier, is good on the girlfriend. She had integrity here for actually coming clean and letting the parents know. So she, in my opinion, is the real hero here. So our next comment, Yeah, how could you be the a-hole in this situation? He's an adult, and you can't punish him like a child. He needs to have adult consequences. So looking at this comment, this person would most likely press charges. And yeah, he is an adult, 28 years old. It looks like something went wrong in his upbringing for him to do this. So maybe trying to make up for it now is a little too late and too harsh, but yeah, adult situations need adult consequences. And on to our next comment. You have a very idealized version of the criminal justice system. My wife is a public defender, and she's just going off right now about how much of an a-hole the OP is. Here's some excerpts from her ranting. This will have long-lasting consequences for her son and will only make his life harder. Do not use the law to settle family affairs unless you want to end the relationship. This honestly sounds fake. It is so ridiculous. So this poster writes about his opinion from his wife, who is a public defender, and she has another opinion. She's saying that it gets too complicated and too messy for families. So yeah, I guess when you do press charges, or if you're thinking about pressing charges on a family member, do take into account you might kill the relationship and make their life much more difficult in the future. And on to the next comment. I usually don't agree with involving the police in family disputes, but in this case, it was warranted. He blatantly lied about it, and to a child, forced the hand of your daughter to pay for the replacement cost of the TV, and then stole the TV. If confronted, the situation could have escalated, so filing the police report was the right thing to do. What I'm wondering is what his long game was. Like you would come over to his place, see your old TV, and not notice? And an additional comment on that comment. Like you would come over to his place, see your old TV, and not notice? Yeah, the whole situation seems pretty weird and poorly thought through. I'm wondering if there's something more going on with the son. Like he's an addict or having some mental health issues. Or maybe he's just an idiot. In any case, if I were OP, I'd do some checking in on him. And yeah, this is a good point. If the son is this dumb to actually lie and steal a TV and make his sister pay for it, and then not expect the parents, if they were to come over, to not recognize it, shows that he wasn't thinking clearly. I think this is a sign there's a much deeper problem in this situation, and it needs to be resolved. And whether or not the police should become involved, again, we've got to know if you want to deal with those long-lasting family consequences. Okay, guys, so what would you do in this situation? What would you do in the first situation? Please let us know. Okay, guys, well, that was it. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and till next time.